The red flags are piling up for Marvel's upcoming Fantastic Four First Steps film. The latest are comments from director Matt Shakman, where he reveals that Sue Storm is the Fantastic Four's leader and describes her as, quote, essentially the Secretary General of the UN. So she's basically the leader of the world as well. Roll this up over at fandompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. And Shakman's comments came in an interview with Empire, where he describes Sue Storm as, quote, essentially the Secretary General of the UN. He added that she is the leader of the Fantastic Four in this film. He described her as, quote, an inspiring, idealistic leader of what the Fantastic Four represents, as she is in some of the later comic runs. This is the problem that Marvel Comics, Marvel Studios has, is they keep adapting these new runs that are all infected with ideology that no one is actually reading, and they think that they're going to somehow be able to shine that turd and turn some kind of massive profit in the box office. And we've seen time and time again that this is not the case. Their box office grosses are in massive decline, and their movies are losing money. Thunderbolts, obviously, being the one that is most recently released in theaters and is still, $100 million in the red. But this is the latest. This is the latest in a growing laundry list. I know I just did a video talking about reactions, and people were saying that the movie was mid. They obviously didn't talk about any kind of ideology that was tinged in it, but we know that it looks like this film is going to have a lot of feminist ideology in it. We know this because Vanessa Kirby, who plays Sue Storm, confirmed it in an interview with Entertainment Weekly. She says, if you played an exact 60s Sue today, everyone would think she was a bit of a doormat. That's absolutely not true. I addressed that in a previous video, previous article. If you go back and look at the actual comics that were originally made, she's anything but a doormat. She's actively engaging in taking down villains, etc., not being walked over. Now, obviously, she was just able to turn invisible. She wasn't able to create force fields or anything like that at that point in her creation, but she was still tripping people, getting in the way, stopping people, arresting them, escaping from prison facilities, etc., and doing it by herself. And then obviously working as part of the Fantastic Four as a team. So that's just a bunch of BS. Anyways, she goes on and says, so figuring out how to capture the essence of what she represented to each generation, where the gender politics were different, and embody that today was one of the greatest joys of this. So confirmation there that the movie is going to be exploring gender politics. The fact that Shakman is describing her as some kind of political leader, the head of the Secretary General of the UN, I think is just more affirmation that this movie is going to be heavily tainted with feminism. Kirby also added in the interview, one of the things I love most from Sue's history is when she becomes Malice and all her dark stuff comes out. I was obsessed with that chapter of her life, so I wanted to make sure that there were tones of malice in there with her, that she wasn't just the stereotype of a goody, sweet mother. I've always been really interested in the mess of femininity and how can you be both? How can you be all the things? Not just the tough, invincible, powerful woman, but also a mother who gives birth, which is itself a superhero act. I love that these characters are real humans in a messy family who argue and try to work it out and get things wrong. I actually really like that last sentence. If that's how she had been promoting this film and didn't say any of this other stuff, that would have been absolutely fantastic and would have massively intrigued me into this movie, because I think that is the core of what Fantastic Four is. But no, it's everything else here is tainted with this feminist ideology that women can do everything, that men can do, etc., that they are not supposed to kind of have this stereotype of a goody sweet mother, and you have to have this bad girl vibe coming out. I mean, this is just feminism to the nth degree, and it's gonna, it sounds like it's all over the film, and specifically all over Sue's character, and it just completely turns me off from this movie. And again, it's part of a pattern that we've seen with the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well. There's a reason why it has been dubbed the MSheU, not just because they're sex swapping characters, but because they use female characters to put down, in many cases, the male characters, or if they're not doing just straight up sex swaps like they're doing here with Silver Surfer, they're having replacement characters like Ironheart for Iron Man and things like that. It's just pathetic. And it's not working. People are tuning out of this stuff. So much so that Daredevil was the number 9, was 92nd out of the top 100 TV shows for this past season. It's absolutely horrible. It did worse than Agatha All Along. People not showing up to watch that show, and they did the whole MSheU crap in there, where they like had Kingpin get humiliated by his wife. She was like better than him at everything. It was just ridiculous. But we also know that they have indeed sex swapped Silver Surfer, with actress Julia Garner playing the character. Speaking to Entertainment Weekly, Garner shared that she was surprised she was cast as a sex swap Silver Surfer. I'm not sure why actresses are surprised now that these characters are getting sex swapped. Marvel seems to do it in every single project that they are producing. But she said we met up at some restaurant in Burbank or something. I don't even remember, but I knew it was for the Fantastic Four. And then I was confused because I was like, wait, isn't the Silver Surfer a man? I was just like, okay, well, I'll play anything. She also claimed that the movie was going to be different than other movies, but that her character was literally just a sex-swapped Norrin Radd. She says, I knew who the Silver Surfer was, and I got to know the Silver Surfer more when I signed on to the project. I really dived in. I read a lot of the Fantastic Four and Silver Surfer comics before starting the project, and I knew that this Fantastic Four was going to be told in a very different way than even the other movies. I think we can now know what that different way is. It is clearly being told from a feminist point of view. And then she talked about her character, Shala Ball, saying she's the Herald of Galactus, so she works for Galactus, but you're not sure where she stands. Does she stand with her boss, or is she just doing what she's told? She has this mysterious energy about her, and slowly that mystery will get solved with the audience throughout watching it. If you changed those pronouns to he, she's describing Norrin Radd, right? When specifically asked what was different from other live-action Silver Surfers, she said, what makes this version different is that the movie is just different. First of all, I'm a woman, so that's already different. And that hasn't been told before, and it never should have been told to begin with. Nevertheless, she goes on and says the Silver Surfer feels more mysterious in a way, even how it was written, than the other ones. Also, just the world feels so different with the 1960s retro futurism going on. The audience is going to get a completely different experience with this movie, so they'll have a clean palette. So it doesn't really provide anything other than the fact that her character is a woman, and everything else she kind of describes, it sounds like she's just describing Norrin Radd. Nothing really differentiating her sex-swapped Silver Surfer from Norrin Radd, because it clearly is just a sex-swapped character, and I think they did it because they're trying to push this feminist angle, and it's just another piece of evidence that this movie is going to be a woke disaster, and it's obviously tainted with feminism, and that Marvel really hasn't changed. They haven't rooted this stuff out. They haven't figured out really what is ailing them as a studio, with all of their movies doing significantly worse at almost every single installment that is coming out. And they haven't really had a big hit in a number of years now. Anything that has been actually successful, I would say everything they've done has been a dud, at least over the last, 3 years or so. But let me know what you guys make of these recent comments from Matt Shakman saying that Sue Storm is the leader of what the fantastic, an inspiring, idealistic leader of what the Fantastic Four represents. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.
Why would you be afraid of the people? Why are you not afraid of God instead of man?